Hey guys, okay, really quickly, I just did the video about loving other people from the lack of self-love that you have and trying to, you know, love somebody else the way you want to be loved when really it's you needing to love yourself in that way first so that you can love from the abundance of love within you and not from the lack of self-love, which creates this really desperate type of energy. It creates a lot of anxiety, and it just creates a lot of bad behaviors in relationships and the way we respond and react to the people that we say we love. um, that kind of immediately brings up the question then of what is self-love exactly. And people, I know sometimes when I'm working with people and the issues of self-esteem, self-love, and self-worth come up. Immediately when they think of loving themselves, they begin to think about things like doing something for themselves. Like, okay, well, I'm gonna get my nails done, I'm gonna get my hair done, or I'm gonna get a haircut, or I'm gonna get a new outfit. And even though these things are forms of self-love, we have to understand that self-love, we cannot totally relate to self-love outside of ourselves. And we're doing that when we put self-love, or our way of loving ourselves is always something that is outside of us. Truly self-love on a deeper level, to where it's really going to satisfy you. Because this is the thing, buying that outfit, getting your hair done, these things do help, definitely. And I'm not saying don't pamper yourself or don't treat yourself well outside of yourself. But self-love is so much deeper than that. Self-love is the way you're relating to yourself in your head. The way you criticize yourself, the way you judge yourself, the way you condemn yourself, the way you won't forgive yourself for mistakes that you made. It's the way that you give other people, a lack of self-love is how you give other people the benefit of the doubt when you don't give it to yourself. Self-love is about being compassionate towards yourself. It's self-acceptance, accepting yourself and who you are, everything about you, flaws and all. That's the truth about what self-love really is. Self-love is making a mistake and not going in your head, oh, you dumb idiot. Things that you would never say to somebody else, but yet you treat yourself that way and you say that to yourself. Self-love is really an inward way that you love and treat yourself. And it makes a difference in your love life and in your relationships, because when you relate to yourself in a compassionate way, and you're understanding with yourself, and you accept yourself, you get to a place of not needing acceptance from others. So you don't need love from anybody. You can actually get to a place where you don't need it. It's great when you have it and you're able to, in a healthy way, experience it with another person, but you don't need it. You don't have to have it. And so that will end a lot of anxiety and desperation that people have, because loving from a place of lack of self-love is very tense. It's like, please love me, like I need your love. And that's not the place that you want to operate from. You know what I'm saying? That's not the type of energy. It doesn't feel good. Like, nobody wants to come and love you, when you're in that energy, when you're practically at a state of nearly begging for it because you need it so bad. But what you don't realize is you don't need it from them. You never really need anybody to love you, not if you love yourself. So when you're in a place where you're really feeling like you're needing someone to love you, it's you that you're needing. It's your love that's missing. And that's what you really want to fill up within yourself, and it will help you to make better choices in relationships. It will break you free of patterns in relationships that cause you to constantly deal with people who don't love you back, because you are going to constantly create in your life relationships that reflect to you how you treat you. And when you are critical and judgmental of yourself, you don't accept yourself, you don't love yourself, that is what makes you tolerant of other people who don't do those things. And we think that, you think that you get in a relationship with somebody who completely mistreats you, toxic relationships that are one-sided. And you think that you're in that situation because of this great love that you have for this other person. When the truth of the matter is, you're in this situation because of the lack of love that you have for yourself. That's why you're allowing the things that you're allowing. And it doesn't mean that you wouldn't love this person. See, by not being in a toxic relationship, you're not saying I don't love you. You may very, very well love this person. But from a healthy place where you love yourself, you don't negate your love for yourself to love this other person. That's not even love. See, what's really going on is you're loving them to get the love that you need. So you love to get love because you're in need of love. So really your love is always driven by this. And so that's why you'll go to great lengths to try to get back and prove your love, to get back the love that you so desperately need. Because what you're desperate for is not the person, you're desperate for love. Okay? And so that's the dynamic that you're in that creates this cycle in your relationships and the way you live your life. But if you love yourself, you make a lot of different decisions. You would value yourself more. So that's just something that, something to think about. And, I definitely wanted to address what self-love actually is, because a lot of people don't realize what it actually is. And then when you say, love yourself, it's like, well, how do I love myself? Accept yourself. Approve of yourself. Be compassionate towards yourself. Don't be so hard and critical of yourself. Don't judge yourself and condemn yourself for every mistake that you've made or every way that you fall short. Love yourself. Love yourself. The way you're out here in the world trying to love people who don't love themselves and don't love you. Instead of doing that, do it for you. Do it for you. You can love somebody else. I'll see people who are very critical of themselves and judgmental of themselves. They don't forgive themselves for anything. But then they'll forgive like somebody they were in a relationship with that has done all kinds of things to them. And they'll give that person the benefit of the doubt. Why are you doing that when you won't even do it for yourself? There's a reason you're doing it. You're doing it because by doing it, you're thinking that at some point this person is going to return to you this missing love that's missing from you because you're not giving it to yourself. So you're driven to keep giving it to them in hopes of getting it back. And this is the reason you're so resentful when you don't get it back. If you weren't loving from that place, you wouldn't even be resentful about not getting it back because you wouldn't even need it. And then you wouldn't even give it in the same way and to the same extent that you do. There would be a lot more balance to it. It wouldn't be the way that it is. So just something to think about, guys. I thought I would throw that out there for you. All right, guys, have a good day. Bye.